Amen.
Spirit of fear and anxiety, any spirit of any spirit of fear or any spirit of like confusion, we pray against it because God says that
Amen.
you have not given us spirits of fear, but of love and a sound mind.
Yes, Lord.
So Lord, we pray that you shall give her peace of mind, Lord, as she speaks. Testimony touch hearts and minds, Lord. Pray against any attacks from the enemy, Lord, to confuse
Amen.
it or to not let the podcast do what it wants to do. We pray against it. We pray that it shall work for you, Lord.
Amen.
We pray that you shall use us for your glory. You shall use us as vessels to touch nations and touch minds and hearts, Lord. We pray
Amen.
that, Lord, that this podcast will change lives. That's what I
Amen.
pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So everything's good, yeah? All right, cool. All right.
What's up, doing that?
All right. Hey guys, welcome to my podcast, Christ Within Her. So I'm going to be sharing my testimony. I'm probably going to do a get to know me video later. Right now, I just want to testify on God's goodness. So I'm just going to get right into it because I'm running on schedule. So cool. Yeah, I'm going to start through my childhood, then work my way through. So I was brought up in an abusive household and I saw my mum and my siblings get abused really bad. I didn't really get abused, but my first child my first childhood memory was seeing my mum get a black eye. My second one was my dad smashing an ironing board on her body. Then through that, I just saw continuous abuse. And for me, it was more of emotional abuse. But my dad did make me sleep on a bed full of glass, and that was it. But yeah, that was that. So fast forward from there, he abandoned us at like probably when I was 10, and then he didn't return. No one knows where he is.
Wait,
If
sorry to cut you off. So you said that he made you sleep on glass. How did that make you feel during that time?
When he made me sleep on the glass bed, I was scared. Like I was really scared, and basically how that even happened was he saw me and my sister watching a horror movie and he didn't like what we was watching, so he tried to separate us, but I wanted to sleep with my sister and we had a bunk bed, and at the time there was a picture that smashed onto the bed, if that makes sense, and there was glass on the bed. So then he said I should just go and sleep there. So then I did. And then eventually, after a while, I ran to my mum's room to go and sleep with her. So yeah, that was that. But I didn't really feel, I was numb to everything that was going on, even being little. So then fast forward to that, then he abandoned us. Like way after that, it was just continuous abuse, as I said. And then yeah, I don't know where he is, if he's alive or dead. Cool. Then from that, I became very angry, like very angry, and I had zero guidance. Like there was no time for my mum or anyone guiding me to do anything. I literally had to figure life out on my own. So I grew up way too early, and yeah, so I started fighting a lot in my secondary school years. So basically, in year 8 going on to year 9, I had my first fight. At first, it was meant to be me and my friends jumping this girl, and then I took over and I saw red. I literally felt the spirit of rage come over me and I blacked out, and I literally couldn't stop beating this girl up. And then someone in the park called the police. We ran away, and then the police ended up finding us, and I got arrested out of everyone. Then I had to go youth offenders for that, and then from there it was just a myth. And then fast forward, I got into a relationship for the first time at 15 to 16 with this guy. He was cheating on me emotionally, and he took my virginity on top of that. So yeah, from there I just broke up with him, and that was that. And that kind of opened a door to me being curious about sex and stuff like that. So then fast forward, like a couple months later, I ended up getting raped by two guys that were way older than me. I went out with my friends one day, and then I saw this guy that was trying to speak to me from before, but I wasn't taking him in. And then this day that I saw him, he asked me to come to his house, And I wasn't thinking nothing of it. I wasn't thinking I'm going to have sex with him. I was just thinking we're probably going to do things, but it's not going to be anything to do with that. So I went anyway, and he brought his boy, and instantly as I got upstairs, he told me to get naked. I did. As I said, I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm just thinking I'm probably going to do things with him. But yeah, as soon as he came into the room, he literally put me in a position and started penetrating from there. And then after that, his boy came in, he left, and then his boy came in, gave me money. I put it in my phone case, and then he also done the exact same thing, put me into position, and then he started the action. And my mum kept calling me, and I was trying to get my phone at the same time, and then he grabbed it off me, took my phone, whatever. That was that. And then I noticed when I was like, after that whole thing happening, now I'm in the cab going home, and I noticed that the money's not in there, and I wanted that as well. Sorry, I'm just being honest. Like, but anyways, the money was gone, and then I noticed that he messaged my mum pretending to be me. So then I went home that day, and I was literally in so much pain, and I was crying so much. My mum was asking me what's wrong. I was like, period pain. Like, I was really trying to hide it, but it was obvious there was something wrong. Then the next day I told my ex about what happened, and he told me that I should basically tell my sister. So I told her. My mum ended up finding out as well. I received support from that, but I kind of swept it under the rug. Like, I didn't pay attention. I just suppressed my emotions. But through that was an open door to the enemy to have his way. And I started to become promiscuous now. So now I want to have sex, basically. So then now, fast forward, I carried on having fights in school. So the way I would express my emotion from all the pain I've been through is through fighting and having sex, unfortunately. So I was having a lot of sex, and I was fighting a lot. So in school, I was just rebellious. Like, I was a rebellious little kid. And fast forward now, basically during my GCSEs, last day of my exam, the day before that, I got into a fight with this girl that goes to my school, and I was beating her up, whatever. And I was banging her head to the bus stop seat, and then I just let her go. Just, you know what? Just go. And then cool, she ran across the road, and I said, nah, I want more. So I ran, but by the time I got to the where she was, basically, she fainted. And with the first one, she had to go hospital after I beat her up. And then with this one now, this girl had a seizure attack, and she faints, like, completely. And now I'm of age to basically go, you can go jail at 16, right? Yeah, but thankfully, glory be to God, he didn't let anything happen to me. Even through that, his hand was still on my life. So I just had to duck out. From there, I just went, and then that was it. Then I came to school the next day, and my head teacher found out about this. He planned to have a meeting with me and these other two girls that got into a fight with some other people. So cool. He told me to wait in reception. I got bored. I got tired. He was taking long. So I went to sit where I shouldn't have sat. So I went to go and sit there now, and I see this guy's bald head approaching me. I'm just going to say that because that's what it was. Cool. This guy approached me, and by the time he got to me, he was like, get out. He just told me to get out because I sat where I wasn't meant to sit. But I was like, no, I'm not going. Like, I kept saying I'm not going anywhere. And I was walking towards the gate, the exit, with the two other girls. And he also was telling them they should get out too. And it was him and two other deputy heads. So now we're walking towards the gate. And then instantly we got to the gate now. Out of nowhere, this guy pushes me towards the gate. I'm thinking, what? No. Do you know what I went for? That head. I slapped that. It sounds so bad, but I got into a fight with my head teacher. It was basically a brawl. It was so bad. Everyone was watching as well. Like, it was so bad. But yeah, I got into a fight with my head teacher on the last day of my exam. So I missed the last GCSE exam, and that was that. But that was the last fight I ever had, and that was that. I stopped fighting completely. So then fast forward now, college years, I was in college for like 4 months, not too long. But during that time, I got into a relationship with a guy that was in a cult. And how I knew he was in a cult was through one of my friends that was also in a cult, in the same cult that he was in, that was telling me X, Y, Z about it. And that's how I found out. And he was obviously involved and stuff like that. So I decided to stay anyway, but I started noticing that there was a shift in my spirit. And to be fair, I had a relationship with God, but it wasn't as strong as it should have been. And God would always show me things like in my dreams. Like he would speak to me a lot, but I was just distant from him. But he would usually show me things, or I would feel things in my spirit, if that makes sense. And with this one, I started feeling a shift in my spirit, and I noticed. So I told my friend that wasn't a Christian, that wasn't even spiritual, anything, not connected to God, nothing. But God used her to tell me that this is what she said. After I told her this happened with whatever, she said to me, I feel like he had sex with you to pass on bad spirits. So in that moment, God was definitely warning me, but I brushed it. So then now, the witchcraft, he was in a cult, but occultism is practically witchcraft. So that witchcraft that he was doing started manifesting in my life. I started to become very suicidal. Like it got to a point where every time I would have an argument with someone, I would think to kill myself. Like I remember one time I was arguing with my mum, and I literally went upstairs and I was like, I might as well die. Like I literally opened the window so wide, and I was contemplating whether I should just bang my head onto that car and just die and just keep it stepping from there. Like I literally, that suicidal spirit was heavy on me. Like it was just so bad. But anyways, fast forward.
So wait, quick question. So did the suicide thoughts come from the sex that you had with the guy, or
Yeah. So I started having suicidal thoughts right after I had sex with, not right after, obviously, but over time, that's when I started to get suicidal thoughts, and I never had that before, like ever. So that's when I noticed there's something wrong as well. But yeah, and I started to get depressed. I stopped eating completely. I would literally just like, it was just a lot. But just to put it in a nutshell, I was suicidal, depressed, and I would start having really, really deep dreams about witchcraft. So that was that. Fast forward, I carried on speaking to him anyway. We was still doing what we was doing. We was together. And then it got to a point where I was just like, I need to get deliverance. And the church that I've been in since I was little, that's where I went to go get delivered. So now I've told my mum about everything. Me and my mum have a good relationship. So I told her about everything. And then she took me to go get deliverance. And then I got delivered. And that was the day that I gave my life to Christ. So 2019, I gave my life to Christ. And then after God delivered me, I went back to my vomit, and of course 7 more unclean spirits are going to come as harder than they came the last time. So then now I'm in this cycle of I keep going back to him and stuff like that. These spirits have more of a hold on me more than before. So then now
so you keep going back to the same guy?
Yeah, I kept going back to him. And usually what I noticed is I wouldn't, like, when I have sex with other people, I would never go back to them. I would want to be in control, like, in general, because I went through that rape and I got taken advantage of. I wanted to take advantage of people and be in control. And I would never go back to anyone that I slept with. But with this guy, I just kept going back to him. That judge had me in a loop. Like, I literally was in a constant cycle, kept going back. Even when I tried not to, I would still go back because I gave the enemy legal rights over me, basically. So yeah, that was that anyways. Then fast forward now, 2 years later, let's just put it like that. 2 years later, I get into another relationship with a guy that does witchcraft, but I've been speaking to him from before, but now we're basically together. And then, yeah, at first I didn't know. I'm going to explain. So cool. 2 years later, 2021, I get into a relationship with this guy that does witchcraft. Bear in mind, I'm still trying to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out with God. I'm trying to eat with the devil and God at the same time, but it never worked. Like, it's either you pick a side or you don't. But I chose to do 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and it literally dragged me the other way. So cool. Now I end up with this guy, and I don't know, he does witchcraft. But how I found out was basically one day we was fornicating, whatever, and he pulls out a gun and he says to me that I can't leave him. Like, I took him as a joke when he said that. I can't lie. I was laughing. I was thinking, please. And then a couple of days later, like literally 4 days later, I came to his house at 12 a.m. I remembered that day as well. I said to my mum, I'm going to XYZ. And she was like, are you sure you want to go? She's like, are you sure? And my mum never asked me, am I sure I want to do anything? Like, she allows me to just do anything I want. Basically, that's permissible, let's say. Cool. So, yeah, that day she kept questioning me. And then I ended up going anyway. And then, cool. So I've arrived to his house and this guy instantly, okay, a cat is right near me. He opens the door. I'm standing right near the cat, literally like this, 1 centimeter away from the cat. He pulls out the gun and he shoots at the cat. And the cat is right near me.
Wait,
If anything, no, the cat, do you know cats are fast? Like, but he basically shoots at the cat, but the cat obviously, you know. But if anything, that bullet could have touched me. Like, it could have, but it didn't. No, literally though. But now I walk in acting like that did not even happen. Like, literally, that did not happen. I didn't even say, why would you do that? There's like nothing. I walk in now, fast forward, we get upstairs, we start having sex or whatever. And literally, he was completely naked this time. And I went from his head, sorry, I just have to say this. Like, I went from his head to his neck, to his chest, to his belly, to his abdominal. I'm seeing this guy's wearing a black rope with 2 stones. One was beige and one was black. At that point, I just knew I got myself in a pickle. Like, I'm seeing Judge in front of my eyes, basically. And as I said, I didn't know he done it. Like, I didn't know that he was doing witchcraft. But now I found out after we just had sex. Cool, so that happens. My spirit started feeling so disturbed by that. And he could tell in my face because he asked me, am I all right? Of course I wasn't. But anyways, I had to suck it up. And then, cool, we got high and stuff. And then instantly after, by the way, just to put this in, God is so good because after we had sex, his friend came to his house. And I felt like God sent his friend for comfort, for me specifically. And you'll understand later. So then now, after we have sex, so after I see the judge, after we have sex, now I see the judge, and now his friend comes, and now we get high in his bathroom with his friend, and his friend walks into his room, and then instantly this guy starts hitting me out of nowhere. Bear in mind,
wait, the friend or the guy?
The guy, he literally starts basically attacking me out of nowhere. So cool, I allowed it.
What was his reasons?
No reason. I feel like it was just, I can't even speak English. I feel like it was the spirit that was just operating through him. She get it? Like, so cool. He starts attacking me out of nowhere. I allowed it at first, and then after all of that, he walks into his bedroom, and then I just jumped on him and I started hitting him. basically got into a little fight, whatever. That was that. And then he asked me to go and move something from his TV, and he's on the bed. And then as soon as I come back to the bed now, he pulls out the same gun he had, and he asked me, I'm sitting down on the bed, right near him, laying down, but sitting up, if that makes sense. And then he asked me, when do I want to die? I was just looking at him. I was literally, my face was so like, I was just looking at him. I kept calling his name because I knew that wasn't even him. That was the spirit that was operating through him. Like, why would you even ask someone that? Anyways, after he asked me that, I kept calling his name. And then he was like, if I shoot you here, you might die. And then he took out the bullet and he put it back in. And then he kept pointing it to my body parts, like continuously. And then lastly, he got to my head and his friend was like, relax, that he wasn't listening to anything. So then now he said to me, if I shoot you here, you're gonna die instantly. And at that point, I just remembered my mum. I remembered what she said before I left. Like my whole life basically flashed before my eyes because I'm seeing life or death in front of me. You could have just pulled the trigger, but thank God, after he got to my head and he asked me, he said to me, if I shoot you here, you're going to die instantly. Out of nowhere, this guy just put down the gun. 3 minutes later, he fell asleep like nothing happened. And in that moment, I just knew God stopped this guy from doing anything. Because what else could it have been? Like, what else really could it have been? Of course it was God. So then now, me and his friend stayed up together, literally, because I didn't want to sleep. I was so scared. And I was scared to move. I literally stayed in that bed for hours until I saw light, like literally. So then now, fast forward, cool. I leave, and then that was that. And then that day, I went funfair with my friend, and I told...
Sorry to stop. So did it feel like just a normal day?
Huh?
You only went funfair with your friend. Did it feel like a normal day?
No.
So you still had like shivers from what happened yesterday?
Yeah. And it wasn't even yesterday. I left his house at 9 a.m. and I went to the fun fair at like 5 p.m. It was hours later. It was on the same day.
So you didn't sleep?
I didn't sleep at all. I couldn't. There was no way I could sleep. How? It was too much. But cool.
Sorry to cut you. And you said that your friend was comforting you. His friend was comforting you. What was he saying?
He was staying up with me. Like, he didn't fall asleep. He was just with me up. She get it? Like, he was just there keeping me company, basically. Because he was meant to leave, but he stayed, literally. So, that was that. Then fast forward now, I've gone funfair with my friend and I've told her about everything. And we're on this ride now, and the ride literally stops in the sky, like, high in the sky. When I say high, I mean high. Like, it literally stopped high in the sky, and all of a sudden this guy calls my friend on her phone. I'm thinking, how is this happening right now? Like, it's getting so eerie, like, to the point, like, I just didn't understand anything anymore. Like, literally. So now my friend was like, should I answer? Should I not? I was like, of course not. Like, but we was going back and forth, and at that point, I was just praying for the ride to go down. And I was just thinking, what a coincidence that he called me in the same time that I'm stuck in the sky. Like, it might sound stupid, but it was so like, how is this happening right now? That's how it felt for me. Like, literally. So then now, anyways, the ride eventually went down. She didn't answer the call. Then now, fast forward, 2 minutes after that, he calls me and we start arguing on the phone out of nowhere. And then he's basically threatening me, And I was like, I can't lie, I want to fight. So I was like, I'm coming to your house, He was like, yeah, come. Cool. So now I'm booking my cab and I'm saying to God, if you don't want me to do this, stop me, because I can't lie, I am actually going. So I started booking the cab to go, and I got in the cab with my friend, and then all of a sudden this guy calls me and he was like, don't come anymore. So now, anyways, we ended up arguing, And then I told him about himself. The argument was really bad, and I told him I also know what he's doing. He wasn't too pleased with that. He got angry. He ended the call on me. Anyways, fast forward that now. So cool. After that, my life just became hell. I was literally in constant torment. I couldn't have no lights off in my house. Every single light would have to be on if I was in the house. When I would wash my face, I'm just telling you guys certain things so you guys understand the fear that I was literally operating in. I would literally be washing my face and looking back, like washing my face. Imagine washing your face and then looking back like something's there. And I was sleep deprived. I couldn't sleep for months. Like I would probably sleep like at least an hour in the day. I would never sleep at night. This guy would call my friend's phone specifically at 3 a.m. I started to become more depressed, but I wasn't suicidal though. And then I started to hear voices and it was just crazy. And then from there, I started to have more dreams about witchcraft. Like it started piling up more and more because I'm still under witchcraft anyway from that first guy, and it hasn't left because I went back. So now I'm with this guy and a lot more is going on, and I started to get really bad abdominal pain, like really bad abdominal pain, stuff like that. I wouldn't eat. Like it was just the constant things happening. I was getting attacked physically and spiritually. And I started to smoke a lot more. Like I would smoke to feel as well because I was numb to emotion. I wouldn't feel anything. So I would smoke to feel emotion, not smoke to have fun or socially smoking. No, at first I started off socially smoking like before, but now I'm smoking to feel emotion.
How does weed help you? How does weed make you feel emotion?
So for me, it made me feel everything that I don't feel when I'm sober, if that makes sense. So because I was so numb to emotion, if I would smoke, I would start to feel everything and think about everything that I would block out. Yeah, I would start to deep life. So that was that. And the alcohol got worse. Like, I wouldn't say I had a spirit of addiction, but I would say that I literally could finish a Hennessy bottle without no chaser. That's a problem. Like I would be drinking alcohol like it's water, literally. And I wasn't a lightweight either, so it would be worse. Like I would literally be consuming so much and it was just so crazy. And I noticed every time like things would happen to me, it would be whilst I'm sober. Like it would never be whilst I'm high or drunk, if that made sense. I would be experiencing more things whilst I'm sober, but I would be numb to emotion. But then when I drink and smoke, I can feel everything. But anyways, fast forward to that, that boy was completely out of the picture. And then this guy that I was speaking to in prison, like during that time, crazy. But during that time, I was speaking to this guy in prison that was from my past, that I had sexual relationship with him at the time, like from years ago in my secondary school days. I was speaking to this guy in prison, and when I was speaking to him, his friend knew about it, stuff like that. And then his friend, there's something about God using these people, these people's friend to tell me what they're doing. But basically, it was basically God telling me once again, that guy that I was speaking to in prison, he was due to come out. His friend comes and tells me that he's doing witchcraft. I'm already under it. This is the third one now. Now I'm on the third one. I'm already under it, so I don't care. So I didn't listen. I didn't listen at all. I carried on speaking to him, and I noticed that when he came out of prison a couple months later, I was an emotional wreck. Like every time I would speak to him, I would become emotional. Like I would be all over the place. I don't know what was going on with my emotions when I literally would be communicating with him. I wasn't having sex with him, But when I would speak to him, it's like everything would change. And then from there, because I knew how I knew the feeling of how it fit. That, am I making sense? Okay, how do I say this? So me being an emotional wreck and stuff like that, that's how I felt with the first one. Yeah, with the first one. So I know that feeling, and when I feel that feeling, I would want to run away. So instantly I blocked him off everything. I summoned the courage to block him off everything and change my number. Couple months passed by. Tell me why I'm on my roads. I'm literally having a great day. I literally even went to go get hair dye for my client and then go Asda. This guy, he sees me on my road. He's in a car. He doesn't live anywhere near me. Cool. That was a setup from the enemy. Cool. After he sees me, he follows me all the way to my destination. And then he says to me, he's not leaving. So I give him both my numbers. So now I'm thinking, all right, I don't have a choice. So I've given him both my numbers. From there, now, this is still in 2021, by the way. Cool. So from there, that's when our dysfunctional relationship started. Because now I've let him in again and now I feel trapped. I don't feel like I can actually run away from this guy. So now we're together and we've got this dysfunctional relationship going on. He's unavailable to his emotions, so he's allowing me to speak to other guys. He's allowing me to have sex with other guys too. I'm allowing him to have sex with other girls too. I didn't care. For him, I didn't care. I don't know why. And also, he could trap me, so I don't think anything mattered to him anyway. Like, literally, he already knew he had me in his palm, literally. So then now fast forward anyway, cool. At the time, it was deceiving because I didn't feel the witchcraft manifesting. So I continued to stay with him. And I said, cool, if I don't see anything happening to me, then I'm going to stay. But if I see things happening, that's when I'm going to basically have to run. So then, cool. This is like, let's say, a month in. I ended up getting attacked physically. So I started growing a lump on my anus, weird place. I started growing a lump and it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It started affecting my whole entire leg. I literally could not walk at all. I got rushed to A&E. My brother took me A&E and they said that I have to get surgery to get it taken out. Whatever that's in there has to get taken out. And this lump came out of nowhere, by the way. I'm a healthy person. I still am. I was a healthy person. I still am. So I don't know where this came from, but the enemy just decided to throw something at me, literally. So then now I start growing this lump. They told me I need to have surgery done. And yeah, so cool. I now block him off everything. He still has my number, but I just block him off everything. And I block his number. So the most he can do is call me on no caller. So then now I blocked this one, Warlock number 3, by the way. Now we're on Wizard number 3. Cool. So I'm in hospital. After I get my surgery done, like after a couple of days being in hospital, they put me under anesthesia. I basically had to be asleep whilst doing it. It was a major surgery. Cool. So after that, they left me with a hole in my bum and literally it couldn't be stitched up. Like they had to put dressing inside that hole, and every time you take it out, I would feel pain. Every time they put it in, I would feel pain, and it literally would have to get changed every single day. So I was physically going through it as well as spiritually. So then now, just a day before I was about to get discharged, actually, no, it was on the day I was about to get discharged, this guy literally ends up calling me on no caller, and I answered. I answered because I was vulnerable at the time, and this is what happens. Cool. He calls me, comes with the why did you block me, whatever I call. So then now he was like, where are you? I was like, I'm in hospital. Da, da, da. Then he was like, I'm coming to see you. What do you want? So he brought me food, whatever. Now he comes to see me. Cool. That was that. Then couple hours after that, I've now gotten discharged. And the food he brought me, I didn't finish it. Usually I finish my food, but this time I didn't. I took it home. And then now I take it home, and on that same day, my mum asked me, whose food is that in the fridge? Why in the world would you ask me whose food is that in the fridge? God was nudging my mum like this, literally. So cool. She comes to me 3 times to ask me whose food is that. I blagged it the first time, the second time, cool. Then the third time I told her it's da-da-da got it for me, and he saw me yesterday. She instantly said, Jamie, you need to be careful. Cool. From there, I was like, yep, I do need to be careful, but I'm not going to be careful. I'm just going to continue being with this guy. And bear in mind, there's a family friend there's a family friend of his that also knows my mum, that tells her everything about what they do in their family, basically the witchcraft. So that's why my mum was telling me I need to be careful, because she also knows as well. So then now, that was that. So the guy has a family friend in his... So there's a family friend of theirs that is also friends with my mum that tells my mum everything they're doing in their family to do with the witchcraft. So there's an informer. There's an informer in their family, but it's a family friend. Do you get it? So then, cool. It's a small world. Like, my mum even knows his dad as well. Crazy. So cool. That was that. And then fast forward now, I decided I'm not leaving him. Like, I already made my mind up. I was stubborn. I was like, I'm not leaving him. In my mind, I said I'm not leaving him. And then that was that. And then in January 2022, the witchcraft literally started to manifest heavy on me. I'm just going to explain certain things. Cool. So this is where my night terror started, in the sense of I literally would wake up. Okay, cool. Let me actually go from the beginning. So I noticed that every time I had sex with him, I would leave him and I would go do whatever. Like, I would be in my house, be in my room, and I would feel his spirit literally with me. And in my room, there was this dark presence, and I had this big picture of me on my wall, and I was wearing red, and I would literally see his name written in blood every time I looked at that picture. So at this point, I feel like I'm going mad and I can't sleep in my room. So then now I've gone to my mum's room to sleep. I go to my mum's room to sleep. Like, literally every day I'm sleeping in the same bed with my mum, because there's so much things going on in my room that I feel like I can't, that there's things that are going on spiritually. And in my room, there was just a dark presence. Like, I couldn't actually sleep. Like, it wouldn't allow me to sleep. So I went to my mum's room. This is where it started manifesting. The spirit started manifesting within me. So every time I would sleep, I literally would wake up at like 5 a.m. And the only reason why I know the time is because I would literally check on my phone, like literally. So cool. I would wake up at 5 a.m. specifically, and I would see like, when I say I would see nothing, like my eyes are open and I would see nothing. Like, I'm just seeing black, like darkness. And then I literally would... My alarm.
So you're basically like blind.
Yeah, I'm basically blind, but my eyes are open, if that makes sense.
You're blind spiritually.
Yeah, and I would wake up screaming at the top of my lungs, like that scream, that it would be crazy. And I would wake up seeing nothing, and then all of a sudden I would see this bright light come into my mum's room, and then I would come back into the real world and I would end up in my mum's arms, literally, and she's praying for me. Like, this is all real life. This is not, I'm dreaming, nothing. Like, this is all real, literally. So that would happen like every single day when I'm about to sleep or when I am sleeping, and I would wake up at 5 a.m. and that would happen. So then now, cool. Fast forward now. This is so like, oh my gosh. All right, cool. Fast forward now. January, cool. Let's say around February 2022, I basically started to see more in the spiritual realm, and I was seeing that I would see in my dreams the witchcraft that he would be doing on me. Like, I would literally see it in my dream. I would see him give me things in my dream to eat. So demonic, like, it's crazy. Like, I was literally seeing everything he was doing in the spiritual realm in my dreams, like, and
So, quick question: when you gave yourself to eat, did it make you like spiritually awakened, or they gave you like more spiritual capacity to do what he wants you to do?
So there was one time he gave me something to eat, and then instantly he started having sex with me, and everything went blurry, and I basically started like, my body started moving and I couldn't be still.
What in the spiritual? What?
In the dream.
Okay.
And I would like, I can't explain it, but I could see it in my mind. Like, and then through there, I felt like he was hypnotizing me on top of it, if that makes sense. So then, that was happening, and I would dream about him and stuff like that. And then I started to have spiritual spouse encounters where I would be having sex in my dream, like stuff like that with different people. And the enemy would use Warlock number 2, the guy that I was just last with, and then he would use Wizard number 3 as well. Like, he would be using different people.
Sorry, what's the difference between Warlock and Wizard?
It's the same thing. It's just that I'm using 2 different names. Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Just like to jazz things up. But yeah, that was that. I started to have really bad spiritual spouse encounters. Sometimes I would wake up wet down there, obviously, like stuff like that. It was really uncomfortable, and I started to wake up with bruises and like 3 scratches. Like, it felt like someone dug into my skin, literally. And I would wake up with body pain, like someone literally threw me against the wall. Like, it was just crazy. Like, it literally felt unreal, but I was actually living what I was living. So cool. Fast forward now. That happened. That was happening like a lot. And then during like, let's say March, I started to embrace the witchcraft now, because I was kind of tired like of fighting it. I was tired of fighting it, and I just felt like at this point I might as well be fully in. Like, this God thing, I can't do 2 at once, you get it? So I was gravitating towards the witchcraft more, because I just felt like, I don't know how I felt, but I was gravitating towards it even more anyways. So that was that. It had a stronghold over me anyway, so of course I'm going to gravitate towards it more. So anyways, fast forward now, that was that. I started to embrace the witchcraft more, and I started to basically be in control of the people that I was sleeping with. And when I would sleep with different people, in the sense of obviously have sex with them, I would feel him instead of the actual person that I'm sleeping with. And as well, when he would have sex with other people, he would literally feel me as well. Like, the same things are happening to both of us. Like, it would be very weird. I would feel him whilst I'm sleeping with other people, and I could seduce people without even having sex with them. And I would basically trap a lot of boys, and they would keep coming back to me and stuff like that. I was having sex with them in dreams as well. Like, it was just a whole entire mess, basically. So that was that.
And that's where I started to take on the Jezebelic spirit.
So I got a quick question. So you see when like maybe like certain random or like guys see like maybe them having sex with a woman, then maybe they get like a wet dream. Is that like some woman or someone in the spiritual realm actually projecting someone's dream?
It could be astro projection, or it could be the enemy just using that person's face.
Okay.
Because sometimes people don't have power to astro project into someone's dream. Like some people don't have that power, but yeah, sometimes it's just the enemy using that person's face. For my circumstance, I feel like the enemy was using me to have sex with those those people in their dreams, if that makes sense. So yeah, anyways, fast forward, I took on that Jezebelic spirit and I started to be in control more and stuff like that. That was that. I was enjoying it basically because I had power. It was all deception, literally. And then now, let's say April, March going on towards April. January, February, March. Yeah, March now. Basically, I started growing a lump in my knee. Here we go with the physical tax. I started growing a lump in my knee, literally the same leg, but this one was on my surface, so it didn't affect me as much. It just made me limp. And by the way, I forgot to mention, sorry, God is so good because they left me. I'm going back to that time that I had a hole in my bum. Yeah, cool. The doctor said I'm not going to be healed in 2 months and that hole is not going to close. God ended up healing me within 6 weeks. I could sit on my bum because I literally couldn't sit on my bum at all for a month straight. But God healed me within a month, by the way. And literally it started closing and all the pain went, like literally, because I was going through so much pain. I had to take like six tablets a day for a month straight. I was nauseous all the time and it was just ridiculous. But anyways, fast forward now, took on that Jezebelic spirit and then I started to get attacked physically more. I had this lump in my knee on the same leg that I had the other one. And basically I said, I'm not going to hospital for this. Like, I'm not. So it started opening up itself and then it started to heal itself. Like literally, it was so painful, but it literally started to heal itself. And through that, I can't lie, I saw God working once again. And because I didn't need to take no medicine for that. I didn't need to go to hospital or nothing. So God healed me fast, like with this one. And through that, I said, God, I'm going to rededicate my life to you. Like, I have to. So I did. I rededicated my life to God in March 2022. And then that was that. Unfortunately, I basically done the self-healing. I didn't really do it with God. I done it on my own strength. I started going into different... Be for real. I started going into different practices that were not of God. And I started to open up my third eye. That too, all of that. I went into all those things, but I didn't get too deep into it. God didn't allow me to go that deep into those spirituality stuff, all of that extra stuff. So,
You spoke about opening the third eye. How did you open that?
So one day I saw this eye in the sky, this big eye, and I had a revelation that was my third eye, and it was beaming with different colors, and the sun was around it, and I literally could see that as my third eye. And ever since then, I had that awakening that was my third eye opening. So cool. That happened. And yeah, that was that. So I went into all of that stuff, but I didn't get too deep into it, stuff like that. And then fast forward now, okay, I spoke about that. So yeah, fast forward to April. So April now, I I had like a month off of this guy, a break, whatever you call it. And then during like middle of April, basically, I had this really bad identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. I completely lost myself in this guy. And I was going through it. I can't lie. Like, every time I would leave him, I would always be throwing up. Like, the spirits would manifest heavy, as in heavy.
Was there another, like, did he delve into like wizardry, witchcraft stuff?
Yeah, this is the same guy.
Oh, same guy.
Same guy. So, yeah, literally, like, I started to throw up a lot. Like, I started to have blackouts. I remember this one time, I was in my house all alone one day, and I started to feel really uncomfortable in my spirit. And then I went downstairs. I called my friend. I was like, I don't feel good, da, da, da. And then I couldn't speak. Like, I went mute, and then I blacked out, and everything that was, basically, I was near my hair area, which is downstairs, and near the kitchen also. I went down into my hair area, and then there's this thing on the wall, my logo, and you have to yank that thing off, by the way. You can't get that off easily. So then now I literally come back, and I'm seeing everything on the floor. Like, my whole house is upside down. I'm the only person in the house. Be for real. So now, as I'm conscious, now I'm back into the real world. My friend, she comes to my house, and my sister comes like 2 minutes after her. They start praying for me, whatever. I'm not receiving nothing. Like, literally, I don't know what's happening within my spirit, but nothing. Like, I'm literally receptive of everything. I can't receive. So then now they continue praying, and I start shaking, and my body hits the floor, and I literally start basically screaming and crying. And then I can't see nothing. Like, my eyes are literally closed, but as I open them, I still can't see anything. And then my sister's calling my name. I hear my sister calling my name, and I enter back into the real world. This is all me being sober, by the way. Like, as I said, when these things are happening to me spiritually and physically, I'm not on drugs. Like, I'm not high, I'm not drunk, nothing. And by the way, I would start, like, I didn't mention all these things because they're all coming back to me, but I would hallucinate a lot whilst being sober. I would see things a lot. Like, I was basically seeing things like shadows in human form, walking past, like, ugh. It's just like, no.
So you couldn't, so not only can you see people's energies, but you can actually sense it as well.
Yeah, like, I could literally feel people's energy. I could feel things that are heavy on people as well. And also I started attracting, like, every time I would go out as well, I would attract wizards in human form. They would come up to me and speak to me. Like, I literally couldn't interact with anyone normal, and I stopped liking normal people. Like, I literally, if a guy that was a good guy tried to speak to me, I wouldn't take him in just because he's not a wizard. Like, I literally started to love evil. Like, it got to that point. But yeah, now fast forward now, going back to what I was saying about my sister praying for me and stuff. As she called my name, I came back into the real world. And then now it's like none of that even happened. Like, I literally stood up and I started laughing. Like, I did not know what's going on. I'm just looking at my whole house in a mess. Like, I did not know what was happening at all. But those spirits were literally taken over. So then now that happens. And then fast forward now, cool. Let's say April. After April is May, June. Cool. A month later, I said to myself, I need to leave this guy, otherwise I'm going to die. Like, literally, it's either life or death. But I said, cool. I'm just like, I'm going to stay with him, but I said I need to leave him, but I said I'm going to stay anyway. But in my head, I was saying I need to leave him, otherwise I'm going to die. But there was this one day that we was with each other. I had one of his belongings in my house. I went to give it to him, and then we was chilling with each other. Cool, that was that. And we was having a normal conversation, and out of nowhere, I see this demon, like human form, literally jump out of this guy whilst we're having a normal conversation. By the way, just to put the emphasis on it. Emphasis on it. I was sober.
So you saw a demon jumping on you?
Jump out of him whilst he was speaking to me.
What, in the spiritual realm?
I saw it spiritually, but it happened physically.
Okay, and it was a demon like a shadow?
No, it was literally hit, like it came out of him and then it jumped back in. Like I literally saw it jump out of him. Then he went back to normal. Like,
wait, so was the demon controlling him, or was it just inside of him?
It was controlling him. I feel like it came out because it tried to hide, but it couldn't hide. How can you can't hide? So it came out, and literally I couldn't look at him again. Like I was so scared, so I literally just stayed looking at this one direction. And then after that, we had sex. Even after that, cool, we had sex. And that day, cool. Couple hours later, as I said, I went back to my mum's room to sleep. And it's like I took him with me. Yeah, like I took that with me. Cool. I went to my mum's room to sleep. I wake up screaming. I end up in my mum's arms. That day, a couple hours later, she told me I need to be careful with my life and I actually need to take myself seriously. So I was like, why? Then she was like, Jamie, you woke up from your sleep and you stood up and you started going to the window and I literally had to snatch you from the window. That spirit wanted to kill me. Like literally, the enemy wanted me to have premature death. And from there, I should have literally withdrawn and let go. Like, because God saved me once again. But I was too stuck in the rebellion. I was literally walking in rebellion and I was comfortable in the dark, basically. I was comfortable in darkness. So then now that happens, I'm almost even laughing about it because I'm thinking, this can't be real, but I'm still going to stay with him anyway. So, cool. Then now fast forward May, the 13th of May, I said, this is my last day with this guy. Last day. I said, cool. So cool. We was with each other, having the time of our lives. And then now I am sober, by the way. I just have to keep saying this so you lot get it. I'm sober and literally this guy's shaking in his bed. His spirit is probably leaving his body, astro projecting. And I'm just watching him on the bed, literally.
Are you not scared when you were just seeing astro project?
I can't lie. I was scared, but I wasn't that scared. Because I was used to seeing him doing that. Like, I would see that countless times. So it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, it would just shake. And he could... Yeah, it literally felt like he was vibrating. Like, I could feel it. It was so weird. So then, when that was happening now, the enemy said, this day, I am not letting you go scot-free. It's not happening. So the enemy put something on me heavier. As I saw his body shaking, I'm laying down. All I hear is a knock to my ear, directly to my eardrum. My body lifts up from the bed. Sorry, I said this before. I'm not lifting myself up from the bed. My body just goes like this. No, it didn't go up, but it went up like... Oh, it's so weird. Oh my gosh.
So your body just got up?
It got up. My body got up. Like without me even doing anything. It just got up. Then, all of a sudden, I feel a spirit literally enter me. Like, my body went like this. Then I go back down. I literally went back down. And then from there... Sorry. But from there, the next day, do you know how I said I'm leaving him? Today is the day I'm going to leave him. as I said, the enemy didn't want to let me go scot-free. Cool. From that, I said, I can't lie, I am ducking out. Like, I have to. The next day I woke up, I lost my mind. And this is where there's going to have to be a part 2. Done.
No, that was a powerful.
Really?
Yeah.